You traveled the world while you were studying, and then you became qualified as a high school teacher. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And, to say that, it is hard to do, to travel the world while you're studying. But I was living, when I came back to Germany, I lived in my van in the back of an old ambulance car.
How very Australian of you.
Yes. So I lived very cheap. I never paid rent in those years. And I spent my nights in the Motorola factory putting together phones at night shifts and to save my money to go overseas.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a creative and even entrepreneurial spirit. That's amazing. That's incredible.
It's true.
And true. In terms of a practical question, were your qualifications as a high school teacher recognized even though you'd gotten your degree in Germany?
Yes, I had to go through a new language test, but it was recognized. And I was actually overqualified when I came to Australia. And so because in Germany it's a master's degree, where it's here, I think it's a little bit less. It's not a master's as far as I know. I was overqualified. So I just had to go through a language test, had to show my papers, and then I was in. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I bet the fact that you'd also traveled the world had also given you that opportunity to improve your English skills.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I'm before I moved to Australia, I was together with a Pommy, with a British guy. So I spoke always English with him. And the same guy I married 4 years later. So I came to Australia on my own. We were separated. And after 4 years, he came and visited me and never left. We got back together.
Wow. What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, beautiful story. So you came home to Australia, and in your bio on your website, you describe yourself as a cigarette-smoking, festival-loving woman, which I love.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little more about how you left that particular world behind?
I would say it was both. It was gradually and it was instantaneously. So instantaneously because I was 21. At that stage, I was a chain-smoking, head-banging, binge-drinking young woman who just... I did my apprenticeship as a lawyer assistant after I finished school. And at that time, I lived in Hamburg, in the city, which for me as a country girl wasn't really beneficial, I think. But I just numbed myself and had a lot of fun. But when I was 21, my father died. And witnessing that left me in a state of, I must say, and it maybe sound a little bit strange, but of appreciation that this happened to me, even though I was completely destroyed and confused. But I realized to take my life into my hands and follow. I became clear. It was an awakening when he died. And I went to Hawaii to learn how to surf. I don't know why, but I knew I had to go. So a couple months after his death, I found myself on Maui. My English was really bad. And I started working in a little hostel, even though I couldn't hardly answer the phone correctly and gave the guys the answers I had to give because I didn't understand the questions they have. So sometimes I hung up and just waited and had to look at my dictionary what they were talking about. And so, and after being in Hawaii, I turned from wearing just black and being pale and coughing my lungs out into a colorful, life-loving person, and then never stopped. I had, through surfing, I had the similar awakening when I surfed my first wave. I had a similar awakening as I had when my father died. I had this moment of there's no time, there is no concept of time or space or anything. I'm just in the moment right now. And I wanted to have that over and over again. So I dedicated my next years on just going surfing and find this moment. But amazing. When I returned to Germany and had to study, it was grey, and I, like being in university and doing night shifts, it left me really depressed. There was a lot of pressure, and I was longing to surf. But I ended up in a kundalini yoga class, which was my first yoga class. And after giggling and laughing with my best friend, she was next to me because we found it ridiculous to breathe that heavy and to move in this strange way, and seeing and having someone sitting there with a turban, that was strange. It was so strange. And I ended up in Shavasana and broke open. Like, I cried. I felt so happy. I felt deeply touched in my heart, and I felt it again. I felt this absolute pure awareness, and it was, for me, I was hooked as much as I was hooked when I surfed my first wave on my belly and woke up, because I was in the flow. And so surfing and yoga saved my life. They carried me through where I am today.